TV all the time, but we're live. Howdy, Nick Tilson, Amachapi, Chante, Washte, Napetuzapalo. My name is Nick Tilson. We're coming at you live here from the Indian Collective headquarters here in Haisapa in Rapid City, South Dakota. And I am here with Crystal Tubals.
Piveshev, everyone. Crystal Tubals here, director of the Land Back campaign. We're just here to give you a few updates about what's going on tomorrow with the Land Back campaign launch, some of the cool things that we have attached to that, and a schedule of events for you.
So those of you who've been following us, you know, the Land Back movement that we are helping to amplify, connect, resource, and launch here is a movement that has obviously lived in the hearts and minds and spirits of Indigenous people everywhere for generations, and it's a continuation of our ancestors' fight for our land and fight for the liberation of our communities and our people. And we recognize that land back itself is something that nobody owns. It lives in places all across this nation, in land struggles that are happening every day in Indigenous communities. And in this campaign here at Indian Collective, we are trying to connect those struggles, amplify those struggles, resource those struggles, and we are honored to do that work in partnership with Indigenous communities everywhere. And in part of that work is here at the Indian Collective being founded and grown out of the Osheti-Shakoi territory and being founded right in this region. We wanted to mobilize our community right here in the Haisapa, right here in the Black Hills, and to continue to mobilize our folks. And so tomorrow on Indigenous Peoples Day, we will be amplifying and connecting many of these struggles together, including some activities that we got going down right here in Rapid City. We're going to be, to clarify, there's going to be a rally that will start at Memorial Park from 1 to 2, and we'll be feeding the public there, making sure that we're taking care of our people as we do this work and do this movement. So we'll be feeding from 1 to 2 at Memorial Park, and then we'll be leaving at 2 p.m. from Memorial Park for a march, and we'll go down 6th Street and march in downtown Rapid City. We'll stop for about 5 minutes at the Pennington County Jail to encourage and sing a song and give encouragement to all of the brothers and the sisters and the relatives that are in jail, who are obviously in there as a result of an unjust system and over incarceration of Indigenous people. And then we'll march down Main Street right here in Rapid City, and we'll end the march at the Main Street Square. And then starting about 3 p.m. at the Main Street Square, we'll be having speakers. We'll have a press conference, we'll have different speakers, we'll have poets, we'll have young folks, elders, different folks who have a stake in our struggle and in the struggle and have come together to amplify the Land Back movement. And then we're gonna have artists share some songs too on the stage there at Main Street Square. Again, this is a permitted rally. We got a permit from the city of Rapid City. We've secured Main Street Square, and on Indigenous Peoples Day, that's in part what we're going to be doing.
I just want to add a little bit to that too. Is, you know, we're encouraging folks to continue to wear masks, continue to maintain social distance and respect to each other when it comes to that, and also just say that this is a family-friendly event. So, you know, bring your family, children, elders, and come down and we can gather in community, support each other, and, you know, celebrate the launch of the Land Back campaign in a healthy way and in a mindful way of COVID. So reminder, just wear masks, continue to socially distance. Just a real quick overview. From 1 to 2, we'll be serving lunch in to-go boxes at the Bandshell in Memorial Park. 2 to 3 will be the march. 3 to about 4:30ish, we'll have a whole lineup of speakers representing so many different voices, and then around 4:30ish, we'll have a concert to wrap up our time together for that evening. So we're pretty excited about the artists. There's some big music coming out of this, so we're really excited about that piece. The other part is that's the local piece. So if you're, in the Rapid City area, the surrounding areas, join us for that. If you can't be with us here in Rapid City, that's fine. There's plenty of ways to engage. We're encouraging folks to organize, like submit resolutions or write resolutions and march on your city halls, your state capitals, and demand that they change Columbus Day back, or change it to Indigenous Peoples Day, and for the cities and the states that haven't done that yet, it's past time for that to be done, so we encourage you to do that. Also, streetscapes, we're asking folks, there's several streetscapes that are currently being made right now across the country, and when I say streetscape, I just mean, large letters, land back on the street. And just declare that, make that a normalized narrative, make it a popular thing and a normal thing that we're talking about every day is land back, getting Indigenous land back in Indigenous hands. The other piece that we still have is just engage in your communities. No matter where you go on Turtle Island, you're on stolen land, you're on Indigenous land, and so engage. Find out who the folks are that are organizing in your community, find out what's going on, and join them, participate, support. And to help you do that, we created a new feature on our website, landback.org. It's an interactive map where you can throw up your events and your actions, your webinars, whatever you have going on Indigenous Peoples Day, put it up on the interactive site, the interactive map on our website, and people can join you, they can contact you that way. And then they can also, if you see nothing's happening in your community, you want to do something, plan something, put it up there so people can join you. We'll be continuing to share that out on our social media, so check that out. Again, it's at landback.org, so it's on our website. Go ahead.
Some other stuff that you'll find on the website is thinking about some of the demands that we have for this campaign, which are fundamental. We're not just mobilizing for the sake of mobilizing. We're mobilizing to win and transform the lives of our community, reclaim our power, and reclaim our lands. And so some of our demands within the Land Back campaign are defund, dismantle, return, and consent. And what we mean by that is defund the military-industrial complex, defund the police that have been used as mechanisms for not only the stealing of our lands, but to maintain the stealing of our lands, the oppression of our people. And so those things have to be defunded. And as we defund, the military-industrial complex and policing, they should be putting that stuff into things like healthcare, education, programs to empower our people, deal with mental health, deal with many things that are facing our people. When we say dismantle, we're talking about dismantle the system of white supremacy and systematic racism that was created in the first place for the maintaining of the stealing of our lands. And this could be things from the Bureau of Land Management, the Forest Service, mechanisms that were specifically created to steal Indigenous people's land. And then return public lands back into Indigenous hands. Everywhere across this nation, the system of public land and the system of the stealing of our lands were done systematically as part of a policy of this nation. And so part of this campaign is actually the actual physical returning of public lands. And much of this work is beginning to see and happen throughout the nation. And lastly, consent. Consent has to do with moving into a whole new policy era and dealing with Indigenous peoples, to move away from a policy era of consultation to a policy era of consent, and free and prior informed consent, aligned with international law, aligned with the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. But specifically, instead of just consulting Indigenous people before you do things that impact our lives, lands, and people, we demand that you get the consent of our people. Because that will radically change not only the environmental justice movement, the climate justice movement, but many of the things that are happening across this country will be transformed as a result of these demands. So as they're out there celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day, let's not just celebrate this day. Let's not just talk about the changing of Indigenous Peoples Day from Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Let's demand our land back. Let's demand that we build a world that works for everybody. And the last point that I wanted to make was, on this day, we are mobilizing and organizing with folks all across this nation. We are organizing and mobilizing with the Movement for Black Lives. We're throwing down with United with Dream and the Rising Majority. We're organizing with many different groups across this nation because we see our struggles bound up with one another, and that we'll only eventually get to the true liberation of our community unless we do it, if we do it collectively. And so that's a big part of the political analysis that we're bringing with the Land Back movement, is that when we win, we all win. And so that's a big part of what we're pushing and talking about on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes, thank you, Nick. And also, if you want to hear more about the political analysis, more about the narrative and the campaign, and really hear how we plan on getting to those demands and how we plan to organize around those demands, tune in tomorrow. We'll also be live all the way from the lunches that we're serving at Rapid City and Memorial Park. So we'll be live starting around then all the way till the concert's over. So join us. We'll try to keep everything engaged and interactive and have voices for you to hear and uplift. So join us. We'll be live online. You can tune in on our Facebook page, our different social media handles. Indian Collective, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So tune into those places. We'll be live the whole time. So if you can't be in the streets and you can't be here with us in Rapid City, feel free to join us there. Share all of this out. Also, in the meantime as well, just continue to support the land defenders, and we continue to say thank you for all of the support and all of the energy and the emails and the calls and the letters that we know have been getting sent on our behalf. We're really thankful for all of that support and all of that love and energy that's gone into that. So we do encourage you to continue to sign the petitions. If you check out the caption for this live, there's links to our petitions. There's a couple of different ones. One is to drop the charges against Nick for the 3 felonies that he's facing. Another is to drop all the charges against all of the land defenders. So there was 20 of us that are now facing charges. And then there's the last petition, which demands the closure of Mount Rushmore and the return of Mount Rushmore and all public lands back to its original stewards. And so please sign that one. We truly appreciate it. Also, continue to donate. BlackHillsLegalFund.org is also in the caption of this live, so please continue to support us that way. There's many different ways to support and to engage and to be interactive with this campaign. In the good starting point is landback.org. So just want to direct everyone there and just continue to say thank you, and tune in tomorrow so we can get a full update about everything Land Back as we go into Indigenous Peoples Day.
Also, I just wanted to take the moment to uplift land defenders everywhere. That there's Indigenous land defenders all across this land. Some who get airtime and some don't. Some people who are taking action right now today that we don't, that aren't even on social media in different places. That the struggle for Indigenous peoples' land, sovereignty, and self-determination is ongoing. It's been ongoing. And I know that many of the listeners out there, that are non-Indigenous, in this Land Back movement, there is a role for everybody. There's a role for everybody. This movement is a movement for collective liberation. And so as you're sitting there and you're thinking about, what do they mean, land back? Are they going to come kick me out of my home? Are they're going to come kick me out of my house? I mean, what we're really saying is that the land back movement and the framework we're building is around collective liberation. So we're trying to build a world that works for everybody. But that world is not possible unless we start returning Indigenous lands back into Indigenous hands. We believe in a future that holds up and has a place for black reparations and additionally lands back into Indigenous hands, and that all of our allies, accomplices, and relatives, there's a goal and there's a responsibility that we all carry in fighting for liberation. And so that's what we're talking about on Indigenous Peoples Day. So again, join us online, join us right on the ground here in Rapid City, join us in your communities everywhere, and we'll see you on Indigenous Peoples Day tomorrow as we launch the Land Back campaign.